The air in our home, which had always smelled of jasmine from the garden and my vanilla-scented candles, now carried the metallic tang of betrayal. It was a scent that clung to the back of the throat, a poison we had all inhaled. It had been 3 weeks since the world cracked open. 3 weeks since I, Lila, walked into my bedroom seeking my husband, Arjun, for a trivial question about dinner, and found him buried between the thighs of my younger sister, Maya. The image was not a photograph. It was a brand, seared onto my retinas. The familiar curve of his naked back, the shock of Maya's red hair against my navy blue sheets, her gasp, not of surprise but of interrupted ecstasy. The aftermath was a silent, screaming vortex. Arjun's apologies were a torrent of meaningless words, a moment of madness. It didn't mean anything. I love you, Lila. Maya had fled the house, her contrition sent via a single cowardly text. I'm so sorry. It just happened. Nothing just happens in the marital bed. A car accident just happens. A spilled cup of coffee just happens. An affair with your wife's sister is a calculated series of choices, each one a hammer blow to the foundation of a family. I was catatonic, moving through the house like a ghost, the shell of me performing tasks while the core of me was locked in a silent internal scream. My daughter, Anya, was my mirror opposite. At 19, she was a tempest of fury. She didn't cry. She simmered. Her eyes, the same shade of hazel as her father's, had turned to chips of cold amber, watching him, watching me, watching the rotting structure of our lives. It was on the 22nd day that she came to me. I was in the kitchen, staring at a boiling pot of water, as if it held the secrets of the universe. Anya placed a cool hand on my arm, her touch jolting me back into my body. Mom, she said, her voice unnervingly calm, this can't continue. He's broken us. He needs to understand what he's done. I looked at her, my brilliant, fierce daughter. Understand? How can he possibly understand, Anya? He's sorry, he says. What more is there? A slow, terrifying smile touched her lips. It wasn't a smile of joy, but of resolve. It was the smile of a strategist looking at a battlefield map. Sorry is a word, an emotion. It's easy to feel and easier to fake. He needs to feel the fracture. Not just emotionally, not just mentally. He needs to be re-educated. A cold dread, entirely separate from the heat of my own anger, trickled down my spine. What are you talking about, Anya? Punishment, she said simply. A punishment that fits the crime. He violated the sanctity of this family. He treated our home, your bed, like a cheap motel. He treated you and me with absolute disrespect. He doesn't get to say sorry and get a pass. He needs to be reshaped. Her words were crazy. They were the kind of words you hear in thrillers, not in your sun-drenched suburban kitchen. But a part of me, the part that was still screaming inside, leaned in. This wasn't about forgiveness. This was about balance. This was about power. What kind of punishment? I whispered, the traitorous part of me now fully engaged. Leave it to me, Anya said, her eyes gleaming. All I need is your consent, your silent partnership. Can you give me that? I looked at my daughter, at the woman she had become in the crucible of her father's betrayal, and I, Lila, the betrayed wife, the broken woman, nodded. It was a small gesture, but it was the moment the scales of our family tipped irrevocably. The transformation began subtly. Anya started managing the household. She took over the finances, the grocery shopping, the scheduling. Arjun, drowning in his own guilt, relinquished control without a fight. He thought he was being helpful, accommodating his grieving wife and angry daughter. He didn't realize he was signing over his sovereignty. The first phase was psychological. Anya instituted what she called accountability hours. Every evening after dinner, we would sit in the living room. Anya would sit in my favorite armchair, a throne of sorts. I would be on the sofa, and Arjun would be on a low stool opposite us. Father, Anya would begin, her voice like chilled steel. Describe the moment you decided to unbutton your pants in your wife's sister's presence. At first, Arjun would protest. Anya, this is cruel. Your mother doesn't need to hear this. Anya's gaze would not waver. Mother has already seen it. Now she needs to hear you articulate the depravity. It's part of your rehabilitation. Or would you prefer to pack your bags and leave tonight? The threat of losing his family, his home, was a leash she had him on. So he would talk. He would stammer through descriptions of flirtations, of secret texts, of the first time he and Maya kissed in the garage. He was made to dissect his own betrayal, to lay the gory entrails of his affair out for us to examine. I would sit, silent, watching the man I had loved for 20 years squirm and sweat, and a strange, dark part of me would feel a jolt of satisfaction. This was not healing. This was lancing a wound with a dirty knife. Anya recorded these sessions on her phone. For posterity, she'd say with that chilling smile. So we never forget the lessons learned. The psychological warfare escalated. She changed all the passwords to our streaming services, our Wi-Fi, even his email, granting him access only after he completed tasks. These tasks started small, writing a 10,000-word essay on the meaning of fidelity, memorizing and reciting poems about loyalty. Then, she moved into the physical realm of our home. She stripped our bedroom bare. She took our bed, the scene of the crime, and had it dismantled and burned in the backyard in a bizarre, ritualistic bonfire. She moved a thin, military-style cot into the room for Arjun. My things were moved into the guest room. The master bedroom is a privilege for a master of the house, she declared. You are currently an apprentice in basic human decency. You will sleep here until you have earned back the right to a mattress. He slept on that cot for 2 weeks, his back aching, his spirit breaking a little more each night. I was a conflicted spectator. There were moments in the dead of night when I would lie in the guest bed and tremble with the sheer insanity of it all. This was my daughter. This was my husband. What were we becoming? But then the image of them in my bed would flash before my eyes, and the sympathy would curdle into a hard, cold stone in my gut. He deserved this, didn't he? The pinnacle of Anya's campaign, the part that truly tipped the scales from unconventional punishment into full-blown craziness, began on a Friday night. Anya had ordered Arjun to cook an elaborate meal. He was a terrible cook, but he tried, sweating over a recipe for coq au vin. The table was set beautifully. Anya instructed him to wear a suit. We ate in near silence. The food was bland, but Arjun ate it with the desperation of a man trying to please his executioner. After the plates were cleared, Anya stood up. The final phase of your re-education begins now, father, she announced. She walked to the hall closet and brought out a large black leather bag I'd never seen before. My heart began to hammer against my ribs. Anya, what is that? What's in the bag? Tools, mother, she said, her eyes never leaving Arjun's pale face. For his behavioral modification. You gave your consent, remember? Arjun found his voice, a thin, reedy thing. Anya, please. This has gone far enough. I've apologized. I've humiliated myself. What more do you want? I want to ensure you are physically incapable of ever committing such a transgression again, she said, her voice dangerously soft. I want to rewire your impulses. She unzipped the bag. The contents were not what I expected. There were no knives, no weapons. Instead, she pulled out a series of sleek black devices, coils of wire, and small vials of liquid. They looked like medical equipment, or something from a high-end sex shop. The ambiguity was terrifying. What is that? Arjun demanded, rising from his chair. Sit down, Anya commanded, and the authority in her voice was so absolute that he sank back down as if his strings had been cut. For the crime of infidelity, the sentence is aversive conditioning, she stated, as if reading from a legal document only she could see. Your body betrayed this family. It will now be taught through direct association that such betrayal leads to immediate and severe discomfort. She held up one of the devices. It was a small black box with a dial and 2 electrodes on wires. This is a variable voltage stimulator. Nothing dangerous, just persuasive. My blood ran cold. Anya, no, this is too far. This is torture. It's therapy, mother, she snapped, her composure cracking for the first time. He didn't think with his brain, he thought with his baser instincts. We are simply going to re-educate those instincts. We are going to make the very idea of touching another woman feel like putting your hand on a hot stove. She turned to Arjun. Take off your shirt and lie on the floor. I will not, he shouted, his face a mask of fear and outrage. Anya picked up her phone. Then I pressed send. The video of your first accountability hour, where you graphically describe fingering Aunt Maya in the movie theater, goes to every single one of your colleagues, your friends, and your golf buddies. Your life as you know it is over. Not just in this house, but out there. Forever. The fight drained out of him. He looked from Anya's resolute face to my horrified one, and he saw no refuge. He was trapped. Slowly, with trembling hands, he unbuttoned his shirt and lay down on the cold, hardwood floor. What followed was a scene from a nightmare. Anya, my daughter, became a clinical, detached scientist. She attached the electrodes to his chest, his stomach, his inner thighs. She would show him a photo of Maya on her phone. As soon as his body showed any involuntary response, a quickened breath, a flicker in his eyes, she would turn the dial on the black box. A sharp, guttural cry would tear from his throat. His body would arch and spasm. The sight of her causes pain, Anya would narrate calmly. Her memory is now a source of physical distress. She moved on. She had saved snippets of Maya's voice. A laugh, a phrase. She would play them. A jolt, a scream. The sound of her voice is a trigger for punishment. She had a bottle of Maya's perfume, Chanel number 5. She sprayed it into the air. The moment Arjun's nostrils flared in recognition, she turned the dial higher. Even her scent is now a warning signal. I was frozen, a statue of horror and complicity. I wanted to stop it, to scream, to grab my daughter and shake her back to sanity. But I had given my consent. I had nodded in that kitchen. And a deep, twisted secret part of me was howling in savage victory. See? See what you did? See the monster you created? The session lasted for an hour. When Anya finally turned off the device and removed the electrodes, Arjun was a broken man. He was curled on the floor, weeping, his body slick with sweat and twitching with phantom pains. The smell of ozone and fear filled the room. You may go to your cot, Anya said, wiping down the electrodes with an antiseptic wipe as if she were a dentist finishing a cleaning. We will have another session tomorrow. Consistency is key to effective conditioning. He crawled out of the room on his hands and knees, unable to stand. I finally found my voice, a ragged whisper. My God, Anya. What have we done? She looked at me, and for a fleeting second, I saw the little girl who used to build pillow forts. Then it was gone, replaced by the cold, hard woman she was now. We have taken back control, Mom. We are no longer his victims. We are his keepers, his judges, and his jailers. The days blurred into a horrifying new routine. The therapy sessions continued. Arjun became a ghost in the house, flinching at sudden movements, his eyes perpetually downcast. The vibrant, confident man I had married was gone, replaced by a servile, terrified shell. Anya was the undisputed master of the house. She controlled everything, the money, the food, his movements. He was not allowed to leave the property unless accompanied by one of us. He was a prisoner in his own home. The crazy part was that it started to feel normal. The initial shock wore off, replaced by a grim acceptance. This was our life now. This was the price he paid, and the power we wielded. One afternoon, the doorbell rang. Anya was out grocery shopping. I opened the door to find Maya standing there, her face a mask of tentative hope. Lila, she said, her voice small. I had to come. I need to talk to Arjun, to both of you. We need to fix this. I stared at my sister. The sight of her, once a source of searing pain, now only elicited a strange, detached curiosity. She had no idea of the world she had unleashed. Come in, Maya, I said, my voice flat. She stepped inside, her eyes taking in the unnaturally tidy, silent house. Where's Arjun? As if on cue, he emerged from the hallway, probably to get a glass of water. When he saw Maya, his reaction was instantaneous and violent. It wasn't emotional, it was physiological, a Pavlovian horror. He let out a strangled shriek, a sound of pure animal terror, and threw his hands up as if to shield himself from a blow. He stumbled backward, crashing into the wall and slid to the floor, curling into a fetal position, his whole body trembling. No, no, please, no more. I'll be good, I promise, I'll be good, he babbled, his words slurred with panic. Maya stared, her jaws slack with horror. Arjun! My God, what's wrong with him? Arjun, it's me! Her voice, her presence, was the ultimate trigger. He began to sob uncontrollably, great, racking sobs that shook his entire frame. I looked from my broken husband to my bewildered sister. And I smiled. It was a small, cold smile. He's been punished, Maya, I said calmly. Thoroughly. You see, we don't believe in simple apologies in this house. We believe in lasting solutions. Maya looked at me, and for the first time, she saw it. She saw the same coldness in my eyes that she must have seen in Anya's that terrible day. She saw that the women in this family were not to be trifled with, that our love, when betrayed, did not simply wither and die. It mutated. It became something else entirely, something fierce, unforgiving, and terrifyingly sane in its own insane logic. She backed away, her hand flying to her mouth. You're mad. Both of you. You're insane. No, I said, closing the door slowly on her horrified face. We're just in control now. I turned back to look at my husband, still weeping on the floor. I walked over to him, not with compassion, but with the detached air of a warden checking on an inmate. I knelt down. Shh, Arjun, I whispered, stroking his sweat-dampened hair. It's okay. She's gone. You were a good boy. You didn't react to her, you're learning. He flinched at my touch, then leaned into it, desperate for any scrap of comfort, any sign of approval from his jailer. In that moment, I understood the full, terrifying extent of Anya's victory. She hadn't just punished him. She had broken him and remade him. His world was now this house. His gods were his wife and daughter, and his only commandments were the ones we gave him. The old Lila would have been horrified. The new Lila, the one forged in the fire of his betrayal and her daughter's vengeance, felt a profound and unsettling sense of peace. The screaming inside had finally stopped. The house was quiet. The betrayal was over. And our crazy, perfect, horrifying new life had begun. And so our story ends. Not with a whisper, but in the hushed peace of a home forever changed. A broken man, a daughter turned warden, and a wife who found a terrifying new kind of strength. The betrayal was over, but the consequences had only just begun. If you enjoyed this story, please show your support by subscribing to our channel, Auntie Stories Corner. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss another tale. Until next time, stay curious.